Hi, Jeremy here with 3D Universe, and today I'm very excited to introduce you to the new Ultimaker S5 Pro Bundle. As you can see here, this is built around the flagship Ultimaker S5 3D printer, and it adds two exciting new accessories. On the bottom we have the Ultimaker Material Station, and on the top we have the Ultimaker Air Manager. We're going to talk to you about both of these and the features they offer. First, I want to call your attention to a very important fact, and that is that before you connect these accessories, it's very important that you upgrade the firmware on your Ultimaker S5 printer to the latest available version. If you don't do that, you can cause some serious issues with your printer, so be sure to update the firmware before you plug in the Material Station and the Air Manager. Now, having said that, let me tell you that these two new accessories take a printer that was already a leading desktop 3D printer in terms of quality and reliability, and it brings it to a whole new level. They added on an incredible amount of reliability improvements and quality improvements by what these two accessories can do. The Material Station is basically an automated material handling accessory. So you can load in from the front, no longer needing to go around to the back of the printer. You can front load up to 6 spools of material, setting each one of them to go to either one of the two extruders. And the printer can then automatically switch between those materials as needed. So you could load in a whole bunch of one material, one color if you need, and it can switch from one spool to the next as one runs out. Or you could load in a number of different materials and have it switch between them, between different print jobs as needed. There's lots of different configuration options that you can achieve with this accessory. The Air Manager provides better printing quality by helping to control the internal build temperature within the printer so that it has an intelligent fan that automatically has its speed adjusted depending on which material you're using. So the Ultimaker Cura software is now aware of whether or not you're using the Air Manager, and each material has a new setting that relates to the internal build temperature, and it can automatically adjust the speed of the fan to help maintain that optimal temperature, giving you much better quality results, especially with more of the advanced materials. The Air Manager also has an integrated HEPA and active carbon filter that gets rid of up to 95% of ultrafine particles. So no need to worry about using separate external enclosures. It'll keep your environment nice and safe while you're using the printer. Now let me spin this around in the back so I can show you some of the hookups for these. As you can see here, there's a couple of Bowden tubes coming off the Material Station. So on the inside, what you can't see is that there are now 6 pre-feeder mechanisms coming from each one of the bays. Each of the bays is also NFC enabled, so it can automatically detect Ultimaker brand materials. It feeds them up through the pre-feeders, up through the existing feeders on the machine, and then up into the print cores. Now, it's not just a feeding mechanism. They added in a bunch of new sensors here too. So whereas before they had filament flow sensors in these two feeders, they've now incorporated several additional sensors all along the material feed path. So that you're now able to detect the material at multiple points along the path, giving you much more reliable material handling. So for example, it can detect things like if there's a tangle in one of the spools, it can feel how much tension there is on that filament and know that it's not moving forward the way that it should. It can automatically pause that job, back out that filament, load in another one from a different spool, and let your job continue. So it gives you a whole new level of reliability in your printing workflow. The Air Manager, as you can see, has the fan on the back side going through the filter. This creates a negative airflow on the inside of the build environment so that it draws all of the ultrafine particles up through that filtering mechanism. And the power, as you can see here, is daisy-chained from the Material Station so that you have one plug going to an outlet that powers the Material Station. The Material Station is always on so that it can always maintain the humidity of the filament inside. And the printer itself is controlled by the same power switch on back as always. The Air Manager is powered over the bus, over the Ultimaker bus cable here. So there is no separate power cable for that. Now, as I mentioned, the Material Station is not just about material handling, it also helps to keep your filament properly conditioned because it maintains the humidity level inside the Material Station at all times. So it has a self-regenerating mechanism for that. It uses silica beads that will gather the moisture, and then once it detects that those beads have accumulated a sufficient level of moisture, it has a drying mechanism that will heat those beads to extract the moisture from them and rejuvenate them so that it can start all over again. This all happens completely automatically without any user intervention. So there's really some nice engineering that went into this solution. Now, as I mentioned, one of the nicest features of this is that all of your material loading can now happen right from the front. There's no need any longer to turn your printer around and get at the spool holders on the back of the printer. Everything can be loaded from the front. Even better, you can even load material while a print job is in process. So even while it's printing off of one of the spools in the bay, you can actually change or load materials in the other bays while that's going on without interfering with your print job. So this allows for a level of 24/7 production that was just never before possible. You can literally have this printer running almost continuously now. The Air Manager has a nice handle on the front and a hinge on the back that allows you to easily open that up. It'll stay right there in that position thanks to the tension on that hinge mechanism. So you have easy access to the inside when you need to change print cores or get at the filter or anything else like that. And then you can easily close it just by lowering it. And it has enough tension that it doesn't just, fall closed. It moves quite nicely and smoothly. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and connect the power and show you the new interface. Okay, so now we have the Ultimaker S5 Pro Bundle up and running, and if we go to the middle configuration screen now, you'll see that there are 6 indicators now for the 6 different bays in the material station. They're labeled A through F. So we can now manually control from there all of the different materials that are loaded in each slot. It also indicates that we have an AA.4 print core and a BB.4 print core, and in the middle it shows that we have a glass plate currently. So to load materials, it's completely automatic now. You don't even need to do anything on the screen in terms of going to a loading procedure. You just open up the material station door, get your material. We're going to do some tough PLA here in slot A. So we'll just place the spool, and I'm going to feed it into hole number 1, which means it's going to extruder 1. And as soon as you put it in, it automatically detects it and the pre-feeder engages. You can see on the front control panel that it is now detecting the type of material that's inserted. And now it says Tough PLA green. It also gives you a visual indicator on the front screen of how much material is left on the spool. So as the spool is used, it'll actually show that little graphical symbol showing less and less material available on the spool so that you have some sense of how much is left. Now we'll go ahead and load some PVA material. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this way over on the right on bay F. And we'll put this into the hole marked number 2 because we want that to go to extruder number 2. And again, we can see that it's now detecting that material on bay F. And there it says PVA natural. And again, gives us a graphical indication of how much is left on the spool. Now we can go ahead and close this because I'm not going to load other materials at this time. That's all we have to do to get set up in printing. If we now send a job that's configured for Tough PLA and PVA, it will automatically load those materials in, get them primed and ready, and it'll do the print. While that print's going, if I wanted to, I could load other materials into these other slots without interfering with that job, without having to pause it even. So there we have the Ultimaker S5 Pro Bundle. It's a really wonderful set of upgrades for an already fantastic printer. This set of accessories allows for an incredible level of reliability, gives you virtually 24/7 production capability right on your desktop. Great stuff. Hope you found the video useful. Please be sure to subscribe and check back often for our latest videos. See you next time.